Meeting for Tuesday, October 10th, 2017 to order. We have substitute city clerk tonight, Paula Friend. So if she would please call the roll.
Councilmember Moran. Here. Councilmember Gann.
Here.
Councilmember Linger. Councilmember Merrifield.
Present.
Councilmember Warner.
Present.
Councilmember Grubb.
Here.
Councilmember Mason.
Here.
Councilmember Straight.
Here.
Mayor Manella.
Here.
Mayor, I move to excuse Rob Linger from tonight's meeting, please.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to excuse Councilman Linger. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, our opening ceremonies this evening, we have Graham Parks from the Newman Center at Fairmont State University to do the invocation, and our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Council Member Moran.
Good evening. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather here tonight. We thank you for the opportunity to either serve or to just be a part of this wonderful community. God, we ask that you look down upon us tonight and you grant all of us here wisdom and knowledge so that the decisions we make in here and outside in the community affect everyone in a positive manner. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Graham. Thank you, Mary Ann. You all received minutes from our last meeting on your tablets, and I'm sure you've had time to review those. So we would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
So moved.
Second. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have minutes. Okay, we have 3 public hearings this evening. Is there a motion to introduce the first public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Would the clerk please read the public hearing?
An ordinance of the Council of the City of Fairmont providing for and authorizing the acquisition of that certain parcel of real estate situate in the City of Fairmont, Marion County, West Virginia, described as 4th Street and Benoni Avenue, Fairmont City District, commonly referred to as Butcher School, from Colombo, Nuoco. By this proposed ordinance, the Council of the City of Fairmont provides for and authorizes the acquisition of the real estate described as 4th Street and Benoni Avenue, Prop and Coal, and being parcel number 20 of Marion County Tax Map 03-02, commonly referred to as Butcher School, from Columba, Nuoco. The acquisition will serve to provide for the abatement of a dilapidated, abandoned, and vacant structure. No money will be paid to the title holder. However, the cost of the demolition and restoration of the site is estimated to be between $150,000 and $200,000. In addition, the city will be responsible for the 2017 and 2018 real estate taxes in the approximate amount of $2,462. After the payment of the 2018 real estate taxes, which were assessed on July 1st, 2017, no further real estate taxes are anticipated due to the tax-exempt status of the city.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this ordinance?
Mayor and Council, Robin Gomez, City Manager. As we discussed, or as this was introduced at the prior council meeting, this item is to continue our process to eliminate blight throughout the city. This structure has been vacant for numerous decades. It's become essentially an eyesore in that neighborhood. This item will help us move forward to acquire and subsequently demolish the structure, and again, greatly enhance that neighborhood, that area in the city, partially the subject of our work session earlier today.
Anyone else to speak in favor of? Anyone to speak against? Then I declare this public hearing closed. Public hearing number 2 is also an ordinance. Is there a motion to conduct the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Would the clerk please read the ordinance by synopsis?
An ordinance of the council for the city of Fairmont amending and supplementing ordinance number 1140 as amended, which is codified as part 17, Building and Housing Code, Article 1767, rental dwelling units of the city of Fairmont City Code, and particularly section 1767.04, illegal conditions. Citation authority thereof to eliminate the ability of an owner or operator to rent or offer for rent any dwelling unit before a valid certificate of use and occupancy has been issued.
I think we're
And section 1767.
Paula, excuse me, that's the third item we need to read. Sorry, item,
Is that all right? Sorry about that.
it's the one on the
That's okay,
traffic.
we can just change order.
It's fun reading them again.
This is short.
Let's try this one.
Sorry.
All right.
This one.
Abandoned vehicles, we good?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
An ordinance of the council for the city of Fairmont repealing ordinance number 795 or such portion thereof, which is codified as Part 3 Traffic Code, Chapter 7 Parking, Article 361 Parking Generally, Section 361.15 Abandonment of Vehicles Savings Clause. By this proposed ordinance, the council for the city of Fairmont repeals Section 361.15 Abandonment of Vehicles of Part 3 Traffic Code, Chapter 7 Parking, Article 361, Parking Generally of the City of Fairmont Code. The provisions of said section at one time paralleled former Article 24 of Chapter 17 of the West Virginia Code. Article 24 of Chapter 17 was amended and reenacted by Act of the West Virginia Legislature in 2000 and recodified as Article 24A. Article 24A was recently again amended by Act of the West Virginia Legislature in 2017. Given the reenactment, recodification, and amendment of Article 24A, the provisions of Section 361.15 have become so that the same require repeal. Nothing in this ordinance will preclude the enforcement of Article 24A by the Fairmont City Police Department.
Anyone here to speak in favor of this ordinance?
Mayor and council, just as the clerk just read, this is to repeal our city code and utilize, as was referenced, the same sections in West Virginia code, so we will now follow section 361.15 under West Virginia code to address the abandonment of vehicles in our city.
Is this will still be enforceable?
Yes, absolutely.
Anyone else here to speak in favor of the ordinance? Is there anyone to speak in opposition? I declare the public hearing closed. Public hearing number 3 is an ordinance. Is there a motion to conduct the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Will the clerk please read the ordinance by synopsis?
An ordinance of the council for the city of Fairmont amending and supplementing ordinance number 1140 as amended, which is codified as Part 17 Building and Housing Code, Article 1767 Rental Dwelling Units of the Fairmont City Code, and particularly Section 1767.04 Illegal Conditions. Citation authority thereof to eliminate the ability of an owner or operator to rent or offer for rent any dwelling unit before a valid certificate of use and occupancy has been issued. and Section 1767.99, penalty thereof, to provide for an increase in fines. It is the desire and intent of the council for the City of Fairmont by this proposed ordinance to eliminate the ability of an owner or operator to rent or offer for rent any dwelling unit before a valid certificate of use and occupancy has been issued under Section 1767.04 of the city's rental registration program. In addition, it is the desire and intent of the council for the City of Fairmont by this proposed ordinance to provide an increase in fines from a maximum fine of $100 to a maximum fine of $500 as provided by Section 1767.99 for any violation of the city's rental registration program.
Anyone to speak in favor of the ordinance?
And Mayor and Council, this item, again, to enhance and ensure the safety, the public safety, health, and welfare within our city limits for any properties that are rented. We're making these changes requiring the certificate of occupancy. Anybody violating this ordinance would be subject to the increased fine. Again, this item is, as I stated, simply to ensure that folks are complying with our rental registration program.
Anyone else to speak in favor of this ordinance? Anyone to speak in opposition?
I do.
Come on up.
Thank you.
State your name, your address. You have 5 minutes to address council.
That will be enough. John Basajic, 1 Millful Road, Fairmont, West Virginia, owner of property at 200 Fairmont Avenue. Although I'm the only one here, I'm just speaking for everyone. And I'm not so sure about this bill. That's why I'm here tonight. And it's recently introduced, and there's a lot of uncertainties, and it's the city's responsibility to inform the public that there's more to this, any hidden things that go along, perhaps. And not the biggest decision that this is about right here tonight at this time.
Get up to the mic.
Not the biggest decision at this time, except it is an important pivotal decision that might affect future things. So why not put this on hold for a couple years? And then who approached the city about this information that introduced this to the city council? I'd like to know, can the city council tell me what individual? Was it an outsider or someone here, or was it one person or more than one? And like I say, I'm not real educated on this issue, except I hope that maybe the council will redo this and think about this for a while, and better yet, just put it on hold for 4 or 5 years. What harm will that do? Because I believe it's parallel to other things. Just leave things as they are until there's a severe need for this. And that's about all now, does the city council have a reply? Who introduced this?
You're here to talk to us. We really don't.
Oh, thank you. And I hope I get some information down later on somehow.
Okay.
And this is all I know because, well, things are going fine the way they are. So why not just leave it as is rather than add things? And I truly want to know who introduced this. I'm curious. And that's all for now.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Have a good night.
You too, thank you. Anyone else to speak in opposition? Yes.
Warren Harger, 200 Jefferson Street, manager, Eastview Unity Apartments. I'm happy to see this bill in effect. I've also participated in fair housing actions, and in passing some fair housing rules, sometimes they're said, hey, we already have code, we just need to enforce code. And so I see that here, I see that in this ordinance here. I also, as manager, I have many people sit across me and fill out applications, and I hear of the deplorable conditions that they have to live in, and they persevere those conditions because they had nowhere else to go. So I'm very happy for this as manager and as a citizen. I vote favorably.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak in opposition of this ordinance? I declare the public hearing closed. Okay, we move on to announcements. Councilman Strait.
Just glad to be here, Tom. Thank you.
We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Councilman Mason.
Mayor, I
would note that I'm really happy to see the development of the entrance to the Dunkin' and Donuts parking lot and business. Hopefully, eventually, we'll get a traffic light appropriately placed there as well. And while we're talking about traffic lights, I asked the question, do we really need traffic lights at 1st Street and 4th Street? With the bridge being closed, no longer there, 4th Street is kind of a redundant or maybe unnecessary traffic light. I realize that is the state's responsibility, but perhaps we can encourage removal of the 1st Street and 4th Street traffic lights. And I'll add, while I was at the precinct to vote for the road bond approval, I received several comments while I was there complimenting City Council and the City Manager. So I hung around for a while.
I bet you did.
It was a delight.
Yeah.
The comments ranged from a lot of good things are happening to, no offense to anyone from previous councils, but this is the best council we've had in a long time. I'm just reiterating what I was told, Mayor. But I was happy to hear that, and I'm happy to pass it on. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Grubb.
Well, first of all, I'd like to keep the 4th Street light a little bit longer to see what happens. It's hard to get out yet. And the other thing is, I want to tell everybody that there is going to be a dinner theater on the 21st, and it will be Travis Henway, who was the director of what you mean? Independence Hall. Thank you from the back, from Independence Hall, and he will be portraying Francis H. Pierpont, who is the father of West Virginia, and talking about the decision to make this a state and the problems he had with that decision.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's all.
Councilwoman Warner.
Well, yes, Mayor, and I'd like to speak, I'm sorry, Phil, on keeping the light at 1st Street. I do live there, and there is a lot of traffic that zoom down 1st Street, and if they don't have to stop down there for a light, they're going to go that much faster. Thank you.
I didn't mean to upset my colleagues to my left.
Fairfield.
I also am happy that Councilman Straight is here tonight.
Deputy Mayor.
Just want to bring up a short thing. For some of the members of the council that may not have been on, we had a gentleman come in when we passed the sales tax, the 1% to take care of the pension, which is, my understanding, is doing exactly what we intended it to do. But one of the things I've read, and this gentleman has made this statement, it's going to be bad for business. Well, since then, we put in a new bridge, Workday Cafe, Dunkin' Donuts, Sheets, Colasess No Snoo Store, Miller School Apartments, the old Board of Education building is supposed to be redone, West Side Market, Dance Studio on East Side, the Owens, Illinois property. So I think that shoots down what he said. And the Backwoods Grill.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, I forgot the Workday Grill.
No, the
Backwoods Grill.
And
the Workday.
Yeah.
And there's another one on First Street beside the, okay. Yeah, you brought up the other side. Shoots down that theory.
Councilwoman Moran.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
The only thing I have is, well, two things. I was happy that the road bond passed. That's going to benefit all of us. And also today, Frank, Robin, myself, Phil, and Ron Straight attended the introduction or the christening of the new United Airlines service that will start November 1st from the Benedum Airport. And this is really going to be a first-class thing for us. It's going to be jet service. There's going to be flights to Chicago and flights to Dallas that will connect to go anywhere you want to go. So hopefully, people will take note of this. This airline, SkyWest, is much more reliable than the previous airlines that they've had up there that canceled a majority of their flights. This airline has a, like, what, 98% chance that they're going to fly, which is pretty good. And the 2% that they aren't is probably weather related. But anyhow, I hope people give this a chance. It sounds like it's going to be a lot more convenient than driving to Pittsburgh and paying to park your car and going through that hassle. So hopefully this will be a good thing for our area. I'm sure it will be, and I hope people use it. That's all I have. We have no citizens petitions this evening, so we'll go right to city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Also echo the passage of the road bond that will be a significant benefit to the state of West Virginia, but for our infrastructure, roads, bridges. It is time to continue to move forward. There's never a good or a bad time. There's always a good time to move forward, and the passage of this will take the state to another level. We have asked the state of West Virginia Department of Transportation Division of Highways to look at the Fairmont Avenue streetlights on 1st and 4th. They will conduct some studies to determine their continuity. We asked this a few months ago when we just, as part of the overall project, again, the maintenance and the flow of traffic on Fairmont Avenue, this has not been a very big issue. So it's kind of interesting that it came up this evening, but they told us they will conduct those studies once the 3rd Street Bridge opens. And I will continue to share that information with council. On this Saturday, October the 14th, we forgot to mention the Deputy Mayor, the West Virginia University Outpatient Center on the connector, and the Fairmont Federal Credit Union on the connector also. Sorry.
Just keep coming.
Just keep. So this Saturday, October the 14th, the WVU Outpatient Center will have an open house. The public is invited and welcome to attend and take a look at their new facility from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They'll have activities for folks attending. Also remind everybody about our you can view your utility bill online, sign up to look at your bill. You may pay your bill if you like, and there are a variety of different ways to pay the bill online. Any utility account holder in Fairmont can also look at your water usage online. You just need to sign up online, but you can look at that as you choose. Halloween, which Tuesday, October the 31st is Halloween, but we have announced that the trick-or-treating will take place from 6:30 p.m. till 8 p.m. So please be mindful of all the trick-or-treaters out there, including most likely yours truly with my younger daughter out trick-or-treating. So that'll be Tuesday, October 31st, 6:30 to 8 p.m. And lastly, I just wanted to share and again thank all residents, businesses throughout Fairmont that have endured, and hopefully they are as pleased as I am regarding the all the streets, the alleys that have been paved this year. So far through September 30th, what we have spent is a little over $1.4 million on nearly 12 miles of streets. But when the last contractor, the second contractor, hopefully finishes the last alleys on the city's east side, we will have spent close to $1.9 million paving a little bit over 15 miles of streets and alleys, some that had not been paved in decades. So I really do appreciate patience on all residents, businesses, their understanding, their cooperation. I know it's a challenge. It can be an inconvenience. Thankfully, it's usually less than a day's inconvenience. For some of you, I know it was longer, and we will work to enhance some of the snafus for next year and subsequent years. So again, thank you to everybody, and also thank you to city staff who every day are out there 5 days a week, for typically all the office staff, and certainly police and fire that are out there patrolling 365 days a week, 24 hours a day. So we appreciate them, and I just want to thank them. Thank you. this Saturday, October the 14th. At least that's what they told us.
All right.
If it changes, we'll issue a revised date.
I thought it was the 21st.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to move into the consideration of council business at this time. Item number 1 is the adoption of an ordinance. Is there a motion to adopt the ordinance?
So move. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Will the clerk please read the ordinance by title?
An ordinance of the Council of the City of Fairmont providing for and authorizing the acquisition of that said certain parcel of real estate situate in the City of Fairmont, Marion County, West Virginia, described as 4th Street and Benoni Avenue, Prop and Cole, Fairmont City District, commonly referred to as Butcher School, from Columba, Nuoco.
Do we have a definite price on the demolition of this building?
Not until such time as we issue a bid and then receive back the
Has
responses.
anybody given us a estimate?
That's where we got the estimate between 150 to 200, just given visually looking at the structure with the reality that there will likely be asbestos that will have to be not, well, I guess treated, but disposed of in accordance with EPA and West Virginia code. But once we issue a bid that we will pair with at least a few other properties, we're hopeful, I mean, the price will likely be below that. That's the estimate that was provided to us.
Hopefully it's no more than that. There's, if we didn't do this, can this property owner be held criminally responsible for the condition of this building?
Kevin?
Well, actually, we had him in city court, and from discussions with staff and Mr. Nuoco and the city court process, this was the resolution of the court action, was for the city to acquire the property and provide for its demolition. It actually had been sold at the tax sale to an individual entity, and he was obligated to redeem it and paid some $10,000 to redeem the property from the tax sale in order to be able to convey it to the city. So we were in court, and this is part of the resolution of the criminal proceeding in court, was for the city to acquire it.
So what are we voting on?
I think he had a discussion with code enforcement and the administration.
Sounds like we have no choice.
If, Mayor, and Council, if we did not proceed, that building would likely stay there. We would have him back in court over and over. The owner, as well as the organization that acquired at the tax deed sale, as we continue to come in contact with other property owners who, some do, most do not have the means to tear down a structure. This one being a former school, it's, I don't know what, at its apex, the height, 50 or 75 feet tall. There's just a challenge to figure out how to go forward with some of these properties. That's why I had mentioned to council before, is if there would be an interest whether we proceed with this. It is highly unlikely that anybody would do anything other than, unfortunately, the city to tear this structure down. Otherwise, it would just continue to sit there and be an eyesore for decades going forward. We would just have people back in court, continue to assess fines, but the remediation of the property, meaning having the structure come down, would likely not happen.
And this property also complies with our guidelines for acquisition. It's next to the new bridge. It's a gateway. It's a definite eyesore and a safety and health hazard. It's constantly boarded up and reopened by vagrants. They go in there.
What else?
Further damage, set fires.
What I was getting at, and it doesn't sound like this guy has the means, if we force the issue, to tear it down on his own.
Well, he's a person who purchases property at tax sales routinely. We have him in court on a regular basis, and other properties he has complied with the demolition orders to raise and remove them. He was involved with properties up on Pierpont that we ultimately transferred to the Transit Authority. He's involved in properties on Chicago Street that we're working on with him to have demolished, and he's complying with those demolition orders. I think this property was just so far beyond his means that without assistance, it would remain. And if we did cause him to redeem the property, that was one of the criteria that was part of the resolution, that he had to pay the back taxes, which actually amounted to
approximately $9,700.
It was $10,203.92.
Okay.
So he paid that out of pocket.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. Anybody else have any discussion on this?
I have a question. When a person, an individual, not particularly this person, but anybody else, when they buy properties and come in and take what is of value in the property and then leave it, can we not pass some sort of an ordinance that you can only do that one time before you're not allowed to buy any more property locally?
I would love to do that, but I don't believe that's possible, right?
I think the state code preempts the process for purchasing property at a tax sale. And we wouldn't have the constitutional authority to become involved.
Even though this situation seems like a tough one to swallow, I don't think it's a matter of if we're going to have to tear it down, but when. And in my opinion, we might as well bite the bullet one time, get it over with, and move on. It's an ugly deal, but it seems like we're stuck.
The other alternative that we discussed was to wait till it came back up at the tax sale and purchase it, but it would just postpone it, and we would be in the same position had we done it today. Because we didn't actually pay the taxes or purchase it at tax sale. I can't do anything about the taxes that have already been assessed or are owed, so we will be obligated to pay those demolition costs, which is what would have occurred anyway.
But if we wait, like you said, the other option, then there's a waiting period for somebody to come back and redeem, so it's delayed even further, right?
But he's not going to redeem it. It would just be that we had to wait the period of time to take title to it, to provide for the demolition, to resolve the problem in the future that we could resolve today. That's how we kind of look at it.
Okay. Will the clerk please do a roll call vote?
Councilmember Warner?
Yes.
Councilmember Straight?
Yes.
Councilmember Moran?
Yes.
Councilmember Mason?
Yes?
Councilmember Merrifield?
Yes.
Councilmember Grubb?
Yes.
Councilmember Gann?
Yes.
Mayor Manella?
Yes. Okay, that ordinance passed unanimously.
Mayor, if I may interrupt, you were correct. I apologize. The open house is on the 21st of October. Sorry.
I have a photograph.
It's a week from this Saturday. My apologies to everybody. It's Saturday, October the 21st, the same date as the dinner theater.
Okay.
Sorry.
Item number 2 is the adoption of an ordinance. Is there a motion to adopt the ordinance?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please read the ordinance by title?
An ordinance of the council for the city of Fairmont repealing ordinance number 795 or such portion thereof which is codified as Part 3 Traffic Code, Chapter 7 Parking, Article 361 Parking Generally, Section 361.15 Abandonment of Vehicles, Savings Clause.
Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Merrifield?
Yes.
Councilmember Mason?
Yes?
Councilmember Moran?
Yes.
Councilmember Grubb?
Yes.
Councilmember Warner?
Yes.
Councilmember Gann?
Yes.
Mayor Manella?
Yes.
Councilmember Straight?
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted. Item number 3 is the adoption of an ordinance. Is there a motion to adopt the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Will the clerk please read the ordinance by title?
An ordinance of the council for the city of Fairmont amending and supplementing ordinance number 1140 as amended, which is codified as Part 17 Building and Housing Code, Article 1767, rental dwelling units of the Fairmont City Code, and particularly Section 1767.04, illegal conditions. Citation authority thereof to eliminate the ability of an owner or operator to rent or offer for rent any dwelling unit before a valid certificate of use and occupancy has been issued, and Section 1767.99, penalty thereof, to provide for an increase in fines.
Is there any discussion on the adoption of this ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Yan?
Yes.
Councilmember Straight?
Yes.
Councilmember Warner?
Yes.
Councilmember Grubb?
Yes.
Councilmember Merrifield?
Yes.
Councilmember Moran?
Yes.
Mayor Manella?
Yes.
Councilmember Mason?
Yes.
Okay, the ordinance is adopted. Item number 4 is to introduce and set a public hearing for an ordinance. Is there a motion to set the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please read the ordinance by synopsis?
An ordinance providing for an amendment to the City of Fairmont's 2017-2018 annual budget, general fund. This ordinance provides for a general fund budget revision for the 2017-2018 annual budget. This revision will be the second revision for this current fiscal year.
Will the clerk please call the roll? Call it.
Councilmember Merrifield.
Wait a minute.
Just have that voice back.
Okay, sorry.
That's all right.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Item number 5 is the adoption of a resolution. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mayor, I have a question on this, if I may. I know when you go to comment, and I'm sure city manager may be able to address this, why and what it does to the city and holds us harmless agreement.
Go ahead.
As the unit of local government responsible for land management, under the HUD provisions, the city of Fairmont is responsible for signing the environmental assessment determinations relative to the Cook Hospital and the transformation of the Cook Hospital into a apartment complex similar to Miller School. We've been requested to do that by the developer, and in reviewing the HUD regulations as an entity that receives grant funds from HUD, we are expected to do that. And in return for our execution of the HUD assessment, the redevelopment entity is going to provide us with a hold harmless agreement, saying that if there should be any issues that arise out of our execution of that assessment, that they will be responsible. So even though we're signing it, they're signing a document saying that they will defend us and hold us harmless and indemnify us from any damage that may come to the city of Fairmont as a result of that execution. Does that make sense?
Well,
Yes.
but my question is, we don't own the property.
That we don't
That's
own the
correct.
property, and we don't really have anything in the project other than the fact that it'll benefit the city as a whole. However, the law requires that because we receive grant funds from HUD, and we are the governmental entity responsible for land use management, that we are obligated to execute this document for HUD. So we have an obligation, legal obligation to do that. And in return for us doing that for them, they're going to hold us harmless if something should arise as a result of the assessment. We don't perform the assessment. A third party will perform the assessment. They'll provide the entity with the assessment. We'll receive a copy of it, and Ken and the mayor will execute the document requested by HUD, the building inspector, and then we'll get to hold harmless. I argued with them when they did the Miller School, and after reading the appropriate sections of the United States Code, I came to the conclusion that we have an obligation to provide the assessment. It's just something we have to do.
But if we would assess the building and say it's not safe, we assess it and say it's not safe, they can't
It's not a
come
question of safety, it's a question of environmental assessment. And they do a thorough examination of the building to determine whether there are any environmental factors that would render it uninhabitable or whatever the circumstances might be. So that they have an entity, a company that's going to do that for them, and then we sign off on it, is basically what we're doing. And then, because we didn't hire the entity, and we're not actually the end beneficiary, they hold us harmless if something would arise. So if a person was living there and decided they were going to sue the owner of the building and included the city of Fairmont, then the owner of the building would indemnify us and take care of our legal expenses and all the other matters that might arise. So.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you. Will the clerk please call for a vote?
Councilmember Straight?
Yes.
Councilmember Yan?
Yes.
Councilmember Moran?
Yes.
Councilmember Merrifield?
Yes.
Mayor Manella?
Yes.
Councilmember Grubb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mason?
Yes?
Councilmember Warner?
Yes.
Okay, the resolution is adopted. Item number 6 is also a resolution. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second? Will the clerk please read the resolution by title?
A resolution to reschedule the regular city council meeting of December 16, 2017 to December 19, 2017.
Will the clerk please call for a vote?
Councilmember Grubb?
Yes.
Councilmember Warner?
Yes.
Councilmember Moran?
Yes.
Councilmember Merrifield?
Yes.
Councilmember Yan?
Yes.
Councilmember Straight?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Mason?
Yes?
Mayor Manella?
Yes.
Mayor, just, I believe that when number 5 was introduced and the motion was made and seconded to adopt it, that the resolution was actually never read by synopsis. I don't recall, I think Councilmember Straight asked the question before the resolution.
Oh, okay.
was read.
All right.
True.
So if you could, I'd just ask you to go back and read the resolution and then re-vote.
Okay, good. Thank you. Backing up to item number 5.
A resolution of the council of the city of Fairmont authorizing the mayor and the building inspector to execute the environmental assessment determinations and compliance findings for a HUD-assisted project, namely the Cook Hospital redevelopment project, aka Gaston Avenue Apartments, pursuant to the provisions of 24 CFR Part 58, subject to the prior execution and delivery of indemnification hold harmless agreement disclaimer. This proposed resolution authorizes the mayor and building inspector to execute the environmental assessment determinations and compliance findings for a HUD-assisted project, namely the Cook Hospital redevelopment project, pursuant to the provisions of 24 CFR Part 58. The City of Fairmont has tentatively agreed to do so upon the execution and delivery of an indemnification hold harmless agreement whereby the Gaston Avenue Apartments, LP, and others agree to defend, hold harmless, and indemnify the City of Fairmont from any liability that may result therefrom. The resolution contains a disclaimer that the assessment and the execution thereof are provided by the City of Fairmont as a courtesy only, and the accuracy of the assessment has not been verified. The disclaimer further provides that in extending this courtesy, it is understood that the City of Fairmont makes no representation or warranty with respect to the assessment or any information contained therein, and that all persons must make an independent determination of the accuracy of any information contained therein. This resolution places all persons on notice that the City of Fairmont disclaims all responsibility and liability for this assessment and all of the information contained therein, including responsibility and liability for any inaccuracy, mistake, or other defect in the assessment or any of the information contained therein.
In addition, the resolution also requires that it be recorded in the county clerk's office, which places everybody on notice that the city has no responsibility for the contents of the environmental assessment.
Okay. Clerk, please call for a vote.
Which one are we voting on?
Same one that we...
Number 5.
Messed up. Thanks for keeping me straight on that, Kevin.
A or B? B.
Okay. Councilmember Straight?
Yes.
Councilmember Yan?
Yes.
Councilmember Moran?
Yes.
Councilmember Merrifield?
Yes.
Mayor Manella?
Yes.
Councilmember Grubb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mason?
Yes?
Councilmember Warner?
Yes.
Sorry about the confusion.
It's all right.
Still doesn't happen.
Just, yes, sir.
Be careful about when you ask your questions from here on out.
Well, they moved him over here. He heard me. He wouldn't have heard me over there.
You did.
Yes, we did that.
Control this room.
So you start.
All right, I move pursuant to West Virginia Code 6-9A-429 and City Charter Section 2.11A3 to consider matters involving or affecting the purchase, sale, conveyance, or lease of any real property, and also pursuant to Code, West Virginia Code 6-9A-4B 2A and City Charter Section 2.11A 1A to consider matters arising from the appointment, employment, retirement, promotion, transfer, demotion, disciplining, resignation, discharge, dismissal, or compensation of a public officer. Do we go into executive session? Is there a motion?
So move?
No, I made the motion. Is there a second? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Warner?
Yes.
Councilmember Straight?
Yes.
Councilmember Mason?
Yes?
Councilmember Yan?
Yes.
Councilmember Grubb?
Yes.
Councilmember Merrifield?
Yes.
Mayor Manella?
Yes.
Councilmember Moran?
Yes.
We may or may not conduct business when we come out of executive session.
It says you have to table an item. Why did you do that for?
She's all you're worried than I am. I would have called her now as well.
I've been through one already. Thank you, sir.
Reconvening the meeting, we need a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a second? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Mason?
Yes?
Councilmember Straight?
Yeah.
Councilmember Merrifield?
Yes.
Councilmember Grubb?
Yes.
Councilmember Warner?
Yes.
Mayor Manella?
Yes.
Councilmember Moran?
Yes.
Councilmember Yan?
Yes.
Okay, item number 7 is a tabled item. We need a motion to remove it from the table.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
One of those two.
Harmon.
Would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Merrifield?
Yes.
Councilmember Moran?
Yes.
Councilmember Warner?
Yes.
Councilmember Yan?
Yes.
Councilmember Grubb?
Yes.
Councilmember Straight?
Yes.
Councilmember Mason?
Yes?
Mayor Manella?
Yes. Okay, item number 7 is a resolution for 2 appointments to nominate 2 people to the Fairmont Parking Authority. Would the clerk please read the names and the terms? Excuse me. Do you have them?
Sorry, 2 appointments, Fairmont Parking Authority, 1 term to end September 30th, 2020, and 1 term to end September 30th, 2019. The 2 names that I have are Jonathan France and Kenneth Satterfield.
Mayor, I'd like to nominate France for the September 30th, 2020, and Kenny Satterfield to the one term to end September 30th, 2019.
Is there a second?
Second.
Will clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moran?
Yes.
Councilmember Warner?
Yes.
Councilmember Yan?
Yes.
Councilmember Grubb?
Yes.
Councilmember Merrifield?
Yes.
Councilmember Straight?
Yes.
Councilmember Mason?
Yes?
Mayor Manella?
Yes. Okay, we have two new parking authority members.
Thank you.
Is there a final item here?
Mayor, I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye, aye, aye.
You have stuff for me?